Hello and welcome everyone, this is Botany and Board. I am Bailey, and today I am so excited because we are going to go over my top 24 books of 2024. I read 100 books this year, which I had to hustle towards the end. I had to read 16 in December, but alas, I made it through 100 books, and these are the top 24 according to my personal favorites. So first up, number 24. We have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So again, I'm going to try to go just kind of really quickly on these and say just one little quick thing about the book so we can make this not super long. So None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This one is great to listen to on audio. Highly recommend doing that. We have a podcast called My Birthday Twin because a lady goes to a restaurant, figures out that it is her birthday and another lady's birthday as well. She then approaches her and says that I would like to come on your podcast and tell you all of my life secrets. And it goes from there. And I love secrets. So if you're into juicy secrets and listening to podcasts, true crime podcast type thing, definitely check this one out. Number 23, we have The Graham Effect. So this is the second generation series of the off-campus series. So The Deal, Hannah and Graham are the couple in that first book. So this is their child, Gigi. So we have, Gigi is with, who's Ryder? His name is Ryder. I'm really bad with names, so I have my little notes here to help me. So Gigi, she wants to be on the women's hockey team because her dad, of course, plays professional hockey. And then Ryder, he is on the hockey team, but he wants to get in good with Gigi's dad because he has a little summer coaching program. So he is trying to get a part of that. So he ends up striking a deal with Gigi to say, here, I'll help you train so you can get on the women's hockey team. And then in compensation for that, will you please put in a good word with your dad? So I love it. I love second gen series always. So this is, again, like college hockey romance, but such a great read. Coming in at number 22, we have One Perfect Couple. And this one is we're going on a game show, reality TV game show, but that's not really what it's about, okay? So it's about a survival thriller because as soon as these people show up at this competition, they get stranded on the island. They, of course, have no phones because the show took their phones from them. So we have a storm coming through. A lot of the contestants are dying, whether it be by starved, due to the storm. So it is just a very kind of gripping read to kind of keep going through. It threw me off a little bit at first just because I was wanting a little bit more of the reality TV aspect. So don't pick it for that. Pick it if you're wanting a survival thriller. So, but I really enjoyed my read, and it's one that I've actually thought about more. I feel like after the fact rather than just whenever I read it. But I'm also a huge Ruth Rare fan, so caveat for that. Okay, number 21, we have Ice Bet. And so this one I read on KU, and we have a coach's daughter. And the funny part about this is that the coach goes to his captain, Asher. I think his name is Asher. I didn't write it down, so regardless, the coach goes to him and he says, hey, make sure none of the teammates get with my daughter. Meanwhile, she overhears said teammates make a bet to see which one can get with her first. So she is trying to beat them effectively at their own game. And is like, you guys think you can do this? Ha ha ha. But Asher, since he has also been asked from the coach, he is motivated to keep his other players away from her as well. So they kind of strike a deal to say, hey, how about if I win a bet, you leave my teammates alone, and then I make your dad happy. And B, if she wins, then she's going to tell his dad what the players had in mind. So, and I'm sure he will take that out on them in practice. So anyways, it is a very good read. Again, college hockey romance. Coming in at number 20 is Loving Romeo. So this is part of the Magnolia Falls series, and we have a little bit of enemies to lovers situation going on here because Demi, her family is Magnolia Falls royalty, and Romeo here is just a boxer from the other side of the track. So he just destinedly hates her family off the get-go, nothing really to do with her, but little does he know that next to his MMA gym, Demi moves in right next door with a cafe. So he can't seem to escape her. And he ends up turning into a very protective hero. We got a lot of who did this to you aspects, which who doesn't love that? So definitely look up checking out Loving Romeo. This one has really good found family as well. Coming in at number 19 is It Ends With Us. So this one I'm sure you guys have all heard, unless you've been not turning on your TV, that this one was adapted to a motion picture this year. So Blake Lively stars as Lily Bloom. So I went ahead and read this ahead of watching the movie. The movie is very good as well, so I recommend both the book and the movie. But this one's very emotional, so a lot more heavy topics. So there's a lot of domestic violence and everything in here. But we have Ryle and Lily, who are currently together, and then we also have Atlas, the old fling that kind of comes in and is ignited in her life once again, that they grew up and were really good friends, childhood lovers, that kind of situation. So yeah, this one is just a very good read if you want something a little more heavy. So definitely check it out. Okay, number 18 is another hockey romance, Brutal Obsession. So hockey, of course, had its heyday this year. It seems like it's going to have its heyday next year as well. Who knows? But Brutal Obsession. This one will test your triggers for sure. You shouldn't like him, but yet somehow I do. It's the weirdest thing. And I think I've excused it, I guess, because he's full on, Grayson is full on nutso. Like, if he did any of these things to me, I'd be like, you're done. You're done. But she likes it a little crazy, so I guess it's okay. So if you're in for just a wild ride, something kind of in the vein of like Untouchable by Sam Mariano, that kind of thing, then definitely check out Brutal Obsession. So this is the first in the series of this one. Coming in at number 17 is Daisy Hates. So I read all of Magnolia Parts this year, so this is the first one to hit the list. You can see all of my tabs. Just so much goodness. So this one is following Daisy Hates. So it's in the Magnolia Parks universe. This is the second book. Daisy Hates is Julian's little sister, who is a mob boss. So she is raised by the mob boss. This one has her love interest, which is Christian, who also, of course, is intercommixed with Magnolia as well. So you'll see her, of course, in here. But yeah, just such a good series. I'll talk about more. I have, spoiler alert, some more of them on the thing. So we'll keep this one a little short. But Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parts universe, definitely check it out. Okay, number 16, we have The Inmate by Frida McFadden. So this one was just a great listen. So I was doing a puzzle while I was doing this, and I was very captivated. We have a nurse practitioner who is now working at a prison, and while she's there, she realizes that the person that she, in fact, herself sent to prison, she needs to then care for. So it is very interesting. Amidst while this is happening in her outside of prison life, Tim, who is another person who was around at the time, it was like 11 years, I don't know the timeline exactly. Anyways, there's Tim and Shane. Shane is in prison, Tim is not in prison. Both of them were around the time that she was strangled and then sentenced Shane to prison. So, as you're going and you're finding out all of these things about Tim is also starting to look like a very suspicious character. So this book was just twist on twist on twist. So I think if you're interested in a very captivated, very quick read, definitely check this one out. And again, I recommend the audiobook. All right, number 15, we have some more Ruth Ware. I told you I like her. In a Dark, Dark Wood. Ooh, okay, so this one is a group of girls who are going to a hen party. However, one of the girls who is invited to the hen party, she has not talked to the person getting married for 10 years. And as soon as they go to this little remote cottage, there's lots of secrets, lots of twists, things are going wrong. I don't want to say too much, I just kind of want to leave it open-ended. But it is a very good read and very twisty, and you will be very hooked. I can assure you that. And coming in at number 14, some more Ruth Ware, The Woman in Cabin 10. So I read this one on vacation this year. It was so good. So it starts, and There's a journalist. She goes on this luxury cruise liner. So there's only about 10 rooms in this cruise. So she goes and speaks to the woman because she needs to borrow mascara or something like that in cabin 10. And then the next thing she knows, she witnesses someone being thrown overboard, and the woman in cabin 10 is no longer there. However, everyone on the ship was saying that there never was anyone in cabin 10. So it is that testing your own, are you crazy? Are they crazy? What is happening? So just very, very invested, very twisty, and very good read. So Woman in Cabin 10. Okay, number 13, we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden again. And this one as well I did while listening on audio while doing a puzzle, and I loved it. So we have a couple that ends up getting stranded at a psychiatrist, psychologist, something like that's house who had disappeared 3 years ago. So they're stranded there, and then she kind of ends up going and looking through things. They're supposed to go to an open house, but end up stranded there. I forget the details of how exactly that worked out. Not the point. Point is, he was a psychiatrist. He has now disappeared, but she starts listening to tapes. So he had recorded all of his patient recordings. So she kind of goes through and is listening to the tapes up to the day of his disappearance to kind of like unfold what all was happening. And just very twisty, very gripping. You want to know what happens. You just keep want to like listen. So highly recommend that one as well. Okay, number 12, we have The Next Mrs. Parrish. So I love, it's one of my top thrillers of all time, The Last Mrs. Parrish, which is the first book, and then this is the sequel, The Next Mrs. Parrish. So do read the first one before you read this one. But Amber, Daphne, Jackson, they're all back. Jackson is now out of prison, and I don't want to say too much because, again, I don't want to spoil the first book at all, but this is a very good, very interesting, captivating domestic thriller. So if you're interested in domestic thrillers, I highly recommend picking up both The Last Mrs. Parrish and The Next Mrs. Coming in at number 11, we have Where We Started. So this is the first book that I've actually read by Ashley Muniz, but in the Stone Riders MC. And as far as Motorcycle Club romances goes, I love this series. It's a little bit lighter on some of the typical aspects you get in a Motorcycle Club, but this one is great. So we have Callie, who was actually the daughter of the president of the MC. He unfortunately has passed away, and therefore Wes, her longtime childhood lover growing up, who has since separated, but she makes it back to town, and she's getting the inheritance, and left to her is actually the property of the MC. And Wes is now the president of the MC. And she always told him growing up that she did not want him in the Motorcycle Club, so it is a real slap to her face that he would go and do such a thing. So it's kind of them reconnecting, him trying to get her to turn over the property, and then just forced to reignite it. But I love childhood friends and lovers so much. I just love the history and the backstory and kind of like the angst of like where they were and like getting them back to that. So highly recommend Where We Started. Now we have officially gotten into the final 10 of the books. So coming in at number 10 is The Deal by Ella Kennedy. And again, this is the parents' book to The Graham Effect that I mentioned earlier. And The Deal. We have Graham and we have Hannah. So this is, again, college, part of the off-campus series. He is a hockey star. She has a crush on the football captain, I think he is. And so she makes a deal. He's struggling with his grades. So he makes a deal with her if she will tutor him, because for some reason she is like the only person in this class that is able to get a passing grade on whatever paper they're working on. I don't know the reason, but it conveniently works out that those two then need to work out a little deal between each other. He will help get her attention of her crush on the football team, and he in turn will tutor him so he can pass his classes. But as they get closer and closer together, Graham starts falling for her, and then he wants to convince her that he, in fact, is the one that she should be with and not the crush she is trying to attract. So The Deal, so good. This is the old cover. I also have the new cover as well. But I love a good college romance. So this one is done so well. Lots of angst, lots of tension. Couple little jealousy bits in there. I wish everybody loves that. So number 10, The Deal. Number 9, we have Ashes of You, and this is the 5th book in Catherine Crowell's series of, what is this called? Lost and Found series. This whole series is the best. This is my favorite of her series that she's written so far. And even compared to the new ones that are coming out, this series is still the best. But Ashes of You, so this is the 5th one, so this is following Lawson, who is a single dad, and then we have Hallie, who was previously kind of caught up in a serial killer. I think there's stabbing involved. Can't remember, but Lawson actually, so since he works for the sheriff's department, detective, something like that, he actually finds her and saves her the first time. Well, she is now back in town. He sees her. He hires her as a nanny to help out with his boys because, again, he is a single dad. And then, lo and behold, the serial killer is back in the town. So will he again have to save her? You'll have to find out. There's great romantic suspense in here. The found family with the boys and her is just so cute. And I also love that. I love how she always does it with, even though these are interconnected standalones, there's lots of intermixing of the other characters. So I also like just seeing from books 1 through 4 them show up again. So cannot recommend Ashes of You enough. Coming in at number 8 is Sleep Tight. And this very well might have been the fastest paced book I read this entire year. The chapters are super short. So you'll be like, oh, I'll just read one more chapter. And that chapter might be just a couple pages. And so it is so easy to just fly through it. And also it is very gripping. So we have a serial killer. We have a kind of copycat serial killer because the serial killer is actually, it opens up where he is put on execution. And then we still have more stuff happening. So this thing is, there's just so much stuff that's in it that just, I loved how everything went. Lots of twists, kept you just like flipping the pages, so fast paced. Goes somewhere that I didn't expect it either, so not predictable. But yeah, I'd never read anything by this author, J.H. Markert, but it was very good. So I will definitely be checking out more books of theirs. So if you are interested for a little very gripping horror and not too like gruesome or anything like that, then I highly recommend checking out Sleep Tight. All right, number 7, we have Where We Ended. I, again, love this series so much. So this one is actually my favorite, and this is book 4 of the series. This is the final one, Where It Ended. And this is following Silas and Natty, and they are childhood friends to lovers, and as you've noticed, I have a theme. I love that. Can't get enough of it. But the thing that really gets me about this one is that she ends up keeping a secret from him because she doesn't want him to blow up. And you know it's going to come out at some point, and I love that. So if you are writing a book, or you're an author or whoever, or you know you've read books that have this, like, please tell me. I love a good she's keeping a secret from him. So if that's a new trope that I'm categorizing. So highly recommend picking up this one. He's a very protective hero. He has been like since he was like little, and they just have reasons why, with threats and everything, because again, motorcycle club, a little bit more dangerous, that they can't be together. She's been hiding in another, she's been actually hiding with the Stone Riders MC, and Silas is not. He is part of a rival MC, but it is their story, and it is fantastic. Cannot recommend this one enough. All right, number 6 We Used to Live Here, and I love this thing so much. 6 stars, okay? 6-star book here. There's so much in it. Where it goes is not where I thought it was going to go. I was sucked in, gripped. Again, I've mentioned this one on the channel before, but we have a couple who moves into this house. They're house flippers, and then lo and behold, this family shows up and would like to come inside to show their kids around the house that they used to live in. And foolishly, she lets them in, and they proceed not to leave. And it just starts from there. And just weird things keep happening. She starts to second guess her own sanity, and I love that kind of thing. Like, she's like, is this window always here? Was this that kind of thing? Love it. And I don't want to say too much, just go in blind. It's amazing. So highly, highly recommend. It will keep you like that. That's what I was, whenever I was reading, that's what I felt like. So I recommend We Used to Live Here. Okay, numbers 5, 4, and 3 are all from the Magnolia Parks universe. So to be clear, 5 is The Long Way Home. Number 4 for me is the first one, Magnolia Parks. And then the fourth book is actually my number 3. So we have How It All Starts, Magnolia Parks. This one focuses on Magnolia and BJ. They are the most toxic of couples that there ever could be. He will go and sleep with a girl, then that makes her jealous, so she'll go date some guy, which then makes him jealous, then he'll go sleep with another girl. Just ongoing cycle of drama. And so afterwards, we skip to Daisy Hates, which introduces Julian, Christian, and Daisy. And Christian is also in this book. Then book 3, so this starts right after the cliffhanger that you're left with in Magnolia Parks. So this one picks up, we get more of Julian, more of Christian, more of Daisy, more of BJ. Magnolia is back in London again. Just so much. All of these books, I guess, aside from like telling you what all the plot is about, they're all just filled with so much angst, tension, and it's very character driven. There's not really not as much. I would say there's not as much plot, but I think it gets a little bit more plot filled once we get into Julian's story and the Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, and that's why it's my number 3, is because it gets a little bit more romantic suspense, a little bit more plot in there. Plus, I am a Julian girl, like, to say the least. Everyone else in there, like, nah, whatever. Julian hates. Yes, like, that guy. Anyway, so you can see though, they're so addicting. Through all of my little highlights that I have. I flew through this series. This is, I would say, my number 1 series that I have read in an extremely long time, and potentially might be one of my top series of all time. I need to do a video like that. But for my 2024 reads, these are number 3, 4, and 5. And then of course Daisy Hates was also down here as well. But cannot recommend a series enough. They're big. It'll take you a little bit to go through them. There's actually a 5th one as well. I just didn't really like it. It was a little too heavy the whole time. It's not what I wanted. But yes, you need to check these out. They still need to come out with a 6th one to finish Julian's story is supposed to be. I wish she would hurry up and write it because, again, Julian's my favorite. But these are great, great books. Emotional, angsty, toxic, very addicting to read. So. All right, my number 2 book of 2024 is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is my first Megan Brandy book I had ever read, and it just hit it completely out of the park. 6 stars, 7 stars, probably 7 stars on this one. It is perfect. And Noah is perfect. Noah is everything that anyone has ever wanted and could think about wanting, is what he is. So we have, this one focuses more on in college as well. So Ariana, she has been in love with her brother's best friend for forever growing up. So she is finally going off to college. Before they get there though, her and her brother's best friend finally have kind of a night together. And then afterwards, he just kind of shrugs it off. That breaks her heart. So she enters college heartbroken. She is then trying to avoid spending time with her brother because as a lass, brother's best friend will always be there. And they are at a bonfire and she meets Noah, who's the captain of the football team, who accidentally throws a football that ends up heading towards her way. So he talks to her and he is just the most patient, caring, kind man that there could ever be. So this book takes off where he is kind of helping her mend her broken heart, and he is not pushy, and he is patient, and he is selfless, and he is just everything. So if you want like a true love story, like Noah and Allie from The Notebook type thing, then you need to read Say to Swear. This thing is fantastic, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is big, but 500 and some pages, 522 looks like, so it'll take you a little bit, but it is, I could have had more of it. It could have even been longer, so fantastic, definitely pick it up. And that brings us to my number one book of 2024, which is none other than Play Along by Liz Tomforty. And this thing is amazing. This is one that I would like to probably like reread like once every like couple years or something, because it is hilarious and great. We have Isaiah. So Isaiah is a baseball player. So this is part of the Windy City series. So this is the 4th book. There are 5. The 5th one's coming out in 2025 on my TBR. Very excited. But Isaiah, and then we have Kennedy, who is a doctor, but she is working on his baseball team. And unfortunately, the coach is an ass and only wants to give her a job as a trainer, even though she's a doctor. And so Isaiah and her end up one night getting drunk in Vegas and getting married. And so in order to save her job, they're going to stay married for the season and then plan to just like call it, get divorced afterwards. And the banter in this is so good. Isaiah is so funny because he is smitten from her from the beginning. He's actually been pining after her for a really long time, but she was actually engaged to someone else. So that engagement just gets called off. So he's like, oh, hey, like, all's fair now. You know, I wasn't going to step on other people's toes, but now that like he's out of the picture, then by all means, here I am. And so he is just so persistent, and she just tries to shut him down, and it is just so funny. I had a constant smirk on my face the entire time just talking about it. I really want to go reread it again. I'm probably going to go ahead and add it to my TBR so I can do another reread. So good. My second, I didn't read it this year. Or I did a reread of it, but I didn't count rereads. But The Right Move is my second favorite of this one, and then Caught Up, and then Mile High. It's just okay. So with that, you guys, those are my 24 books, top 24 books of 2024. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope maybe you found some new favorites to add to your TBR for 2025. If you're a fellow reader, please let me know what books I would love based on kind of what you can see my tastes are, and let me know what some of your favorite books are down below as well. I would love to hear and find out. And with that, please consider giving me a like and subscribe if you do not mind. And thank you all so much for hanging out, and I will see you next time.
Starting to think you might know me better than all of my friends with their smiles.